Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is Thursday, December 6th, 2018, and this is Mastermind call number 205. Our WOW winner, that stands, by the way, for Winner of the Week, last week was Rob Quinn, and Rob told us a great story about his first batch of leads. I think his very first appointment, he managed to get 3 deals out of one appointment, and it was just a great example of asking extra questions, how else can I help you? And so Rob was our winner of the week, and we're looking for a new one this week. We'll give you either a discount on your next set of leads, or we'll give you some free leads. We just want to bribe you a little bit to come forward and tell stories, because I know every time someone volunteers something that worked for them, there's a lot of other people that benefit, from that story and from the example. So don't be shy, guys. Hit *6 and hit 1. We have one person in the queue. Chad, what would you like to share with the group first?
Excuse me. Just a reminder that yesterday, if you missed the December role play call, that has been posted in the Facebook group and should be posted probably by now to the call archive. So if you didn't make it to the role play, I'm always shocked at how original each of them are. We had, new content every month. We seem to have different role plays. So you can find it in All the Leads Mastermind, our Facebook group. You can use the search bar on the left to pull it up quicker. Just type in role play. Or you can go to the subscriber portal, education and training, conference calls, access call archive, and also get that. So if you missed it, just be aware that's there. And then Probate Mastery has been scheduled for, I just sent out an email this morning, you should have seen, but the 17th, 18th, 19th. So we've got meetings next week in Florida, so that before Christmas, it's a week closer than I wanted it to be, but that's the only time we could fit it in. So 2 p.m. on December 17th, 18th, and 19th.
And that info is also in the calendar on our website as well.
Excellent. Chad, and I share your view there. Even these mastermind calls, it amazes me after doing 205 of them. It's not unusual at all that we'll hear a question or a situation that we've never heard before. There's so many variables, and there's so many different ways of pulling business. I spoke to someone an hour ago who was a real estate coach, and one of his clients, he said they did 70 deals, which I'm absolutely amazed with our probate leads this year, and it was in a county where they're the only subscriber, where they're getting a ton of leads. So we'd like to hear when you have successes like that, guys. Please step forward and share them. Not to brag, but to just help other people in the group benefit from what's working for you. We really appreciate it. And Tim, I heard your voice. What would you like to share with the group?
I'm just first off, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that was in fact in the calendar. Mastery is there. I certainly urge everyone who's not had the opportunity to take Mastery and get the opportunity to spend some time in a more direct one-on-one with Chad than you normally get in some of the environments that you get. Chad has a lot to offer, and I don't think anybody's ever taken that course that hasn't benefited from it mightily. And I can also tell you that a whole bunch of our best folks are people that have been through that and are the alumni of that course. The other thing that you might mention, or that I'll mention, is that if you've taken it once and you need a refresher course, you're welcome to sit in and audit it. You kind of get a lifetime pass to come and do that, and that every time we do it, we have people who come back for a second and third time just to get recharged and keep on moving. So Mastery is a hot ticket. The other thing I'll add is that you've seen a couple of the things that we're doing right now from a technology standpoint. The lead follow program that we put out is probably one of the cooler things that we've done, and we've got a bunch of new stuff that'll be coming shortly, and that's just the tip of the iceberg for what we're going to be doing next year. So it's going to be a great year. We're going to finish strong in December. Those of you that are out there working hard and know that you're probably going to be the people who make a great December for yourselves, and a lot of people tend to think, well, this is a time that a lot of business doesn't get done, and you couldn't be wronger. This is a time where superstars make lots of money, so be a superstar.
Absolutely, and Tim, just to add to that, the partners have been brainstorming, the 4 of us, last few weeks, what can we do to help you get off to a strong start next year, and we sent you all out an email I think it went out this morning, just for any of you that want to add counties, any of you that, just want to take it to the next level. We're giving you a couple real good incentives to do it now rather than wait till January. Get it in the works so you can hit the ground running in January. And if you didn't get that email, I'm sure you did, but look in your spam. If you're on this call, you probably got that email. If you didn't and you wonder what we're talking about, just send an email to support@alltheleads.com and we'll send it back to you.
I only
Tom, anything you want to add, Tim?
Chad,
I think Chad's got something there.
Oh, okay.
I only sent that email to subscribers, so I know there's a lot of people on this call that aren't currently a subscriber, so we will extend that discount. If you want to sign up for more than one county, it will apply to you. So you can just call our main the main number, and speak to one of our sales team, and they can let you know what the multi-county discount is.
Excellent. And Tom, I heard your voice. What words of wisdom would you like to share with the group?
Just remind everybody that if they need help, that's what we're here for. Just send us an email to support@alltheleads.com, or if you're in your account area under support, there is a contact us. Just be specific on what you're looking for. We do track all those items and assign the appropriate people to get back to you quickly. So that's one of the fastest ways to get us. You can always call us too. That's it.
Excellent. Well, we only have one person in the queue, so I hope you, that area code 863, I hope you have a 45-minute question, or I hope we can get a few more people to participate. I know it's close to the holidays. You guys are, might mentally be on vacation, but please jump in and ask a question, share a story. You guys, there's a ton of people on the call. Just hit *6 and hit 1, and you'll be up next. In the meantime, there we go. Thank you. The first one in the queue is phone number ending in 2121. You're up first.
Mm-hmm. Hi. Thanks for hearing my question.
Sure.
I took Probate Mastery last week, and I spoke to Chad the beginning of the week concerning just some of my very basic questions that I have as far as how probate works legally, specifically in my state and my county. And I know he had said that normally, and maybe I just need to speak, I had actually called yesterday and asked to speak to Jim, but I haven't heard back. So I don't know, maybe I need to just wait, and if you can get somebody specific to Florida to call me, but my question is very Florida specific.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You can throw it out there, Chad. Or would you rather answer it privately, Chad? It's up to you.
No, I'm fine. Let's hear it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Well, he had said on Monday that in Florida that I would need to, if I got I'd have to put in the MLS when I have a probate listing, that this is a probate case, and that, there needs to be contingency written into the offers, that it's contingent upon the price being ratified by probate court. I actually called and talked to a probate clerk, and he was not unfriendly at all. He was very friendly, but he was very strong in saying that they are not allowed to give out any kind of legal advice. They can only speak in generalities. So he was very confusing and guarded in what he had to say, and I don't think I would have had any different result if I had showed up in person, because I've gotten that same response from our county courthouse, from other departments when I've called to ask questions. I think they really, really censor what they're allowed to say. But what he did tell me was that it comes in a myriad of ways. First of all, he said he's been doing it for 20 years, and he said he doesn't think that there's any oversight on the price at all. He said he had never heard of that. But he did indicate that sometimes they have to file a petition. The attorney has to file the petition in order for them to even be able to be allowed to sell the place. And sometimes it comes afterwards where, I have it on the market, I have a buyer lined up, and then it goes to be, for oversight, just to approve whose performing the sale, all of that. So my question is, I'm really unclear as to, and I don't want to look completely clueless with these attorneys that I'm already heavily marketing to, was working on this week with. I don't even know, is it appropriate for me to ask them, okay, for such and such probate case, which you just referred me to, am I okay to put it on the MLS now, or you need to, I don't even know, like, what I'm supposed to ask them as far as, like, to
Sure.
know when I can, yeah.
So I want to clear a couple of things up and then underscore what we talked about on Monday.
Okay.
What I suggested was that you put in the private remarks, this is a probate, please see documents before submitting offer. And then I suggested that you upload in the documents instructions, kind of a brief intro to probate, explaining why the offer should include a contingency for court approval. It wasn't anything specific to the price. What I said is once an executor has their letters of testamentary, they have the authority to sign a listing agreement and a purchase agreement. So you get the listing agreement signed, you reach out, introduce yourself to the attorney, ask them if there's anything specific they would like to see. That adds a fail-safe in there in case there is a hole in your knowledge. The attorney has an opportunity to say, well, we should put this in there. Then you upload it to MLS and you put that document in the documents. That way buyer's agents know that they need to write in a contingency they're not used to writing in. The price doesn't really have anything to do with it, but Florida does require court approval. So the next thing is, once you have a ratified purchase agreement, but all parties have signed it, you present that to the probate attorney. The probate attorney can present it to the court can approve it, and you can move forward with closing. So that's what we discussed on Monday. As far as the behavior of the clerk, sometimes they feel like they're being asked too specific of a legal question, and they're not going to risk their job for that. The state of Florida has the entire probate code online. Any of us can download it right now. If you can sit and stand the legalese of reading through it, you can exhaust every question you would have. You can learn every intricate detail. I try to focus only on the things that really matter from a real estate and from a sales perspective. The last thing I want to do is force a bunch of legal information on real estate and sales professionals, because I've seen them lock up and do nothing because of that. And what we talked about is you never need to be a probate attorney. You just need to complement what the probate attorney is doing for the personal representative.
Right, and I understand that, but what I don't understand is whether or not with any given case, whether or not it's even where I can put it on the MLS and it can be marketed, because
when they have the letters of testamentary, they have the authority to sign a listing agreement and the purchase agreement, and you can move forward with the timeline I just laid out.
When who has
so if you're contacting the person, if you're contacting the person that we listed as the executor, that means they've been appointed as the executor, so they do have the power to do that. Don't overthink it. They're authorized. If they wouldn't have been named as the executor or the PR if they weren't already authorized to do that. So they can list it. They can sign contracts. And what Chad is saying, just make sure you put a contingency in the contract. Like if it were a short sale, you would put contingent on bank approval. When you write up the contract, just make sure that you put something in there that closing to take place, on or after court approval for the probate. Because it has the process, they can list it, they can sign contracts, they just can't convey clear title until the court procedure is done. So, it's really just putting a sentence or two in there. And I think, Chad, I don't mean to speak for you, but what I think Chad is saying is compliment the attorney. He won't think you're a dummy. Attorneys like to be complimented. He's the professional. So just ask that. You could just put a real generic phrase or two in there and you'd be fine. But I think what Chad said was contact that attorney, give him, the courtesy of, is there any particular way you want me to word this, and let him know that, you respect him as an authority, and hopefully that's a good opportunity, too, to bond with that attorney and try to get referrals for other deals.
Right, and if there's anything in particular, if there's anything in that deal that you need to be aware of, that just puts an extra layer of security in there so that attorney has the opportunity to look at the circumstance and say, oh, well, you should have done it this way, or nope, that looks good, looks good. And then if something is missed, you were working with the attorney, and it's kind of as much on them as it is on you, but I'm not even aware of an example I can bring up where anything like that's happened. The main reason I suggest calling the attorney is just to show them how proactive you are and show them that you're looking out for their client's best interest and build the relationship so the next time they have a referral, they remember that.
Okay. And so it is true then, because what I had understood before I talked to the probate clerk and what I hear you guys saying is that once it gets to the point where probate has been filed and I would know about it, at that point there would be somebody appointed, so it should always be where it can be marketed, right? The property should always be where it could be marketed as far as
So
put
the
on
only
the
time
MLS.
that when we get the information, the person is known as the petitioner, which we talked about in Mastery.
Right.
So after the initial the initial hearing, they call for objections. You give notice to the public. You have a hearing. They call for objections. If nobody objects, then they appoint that person as the executor, administrator, or public administrator. That's not a guarantee that when we speak to them, they'll have the letters of testamentary, that gives them the authority, like the final appointment.
Okay.
But in the state of Florida, I've yet to hear of a situation where we had to wait to list. The only place I'm aware of it, the court's kind of being behind right now, is in California. But typically in Florida, by the time they file, you get your marketing out, you make your phone calls. Usually the court has already passed that, and they have their letters, and they have the authority to move forward. Now, something you will encounter in Florida, you're gonna speak to personal reps to say, well, we can't do anything because the attorney just said wait until he tells us what to do. And attorneys oftentimes it's really common for attorneys because usually the agent ends up being a pain in their butt. And to avoid that, they just tell them, listen, don't listen to anyone else, just wait for my call. When the reality is it's usually not in the family's best interest to leave a piece of real estate sitting vacant while they're paying taxes and insurance and everything else. It's not in the estate's best interest. So you can show them show them ways that they're losing money every month and that they could be taking advantage of the market and getting, and Jim has a really good line, would you rather be getting started in 3 months or have this done in 3 months?
Right, yeah. I remember that and I wrote all that down. So the key is, as long as, would it be smart then to always call the attorney, like as I'm putting it in the MLS, call the attorney and just say, hey, I just want to double check that the family has their letters of testamentary. Is that what you say? Testamentary?
So, I mean, you can ask when you're on the initial conversation with the personal representative, say, so you met with the probate clerk, you've gone through that process. Have you been appointed? Like, have you gotten your letters? And I bet you in Florida, 9.5 out of 10 are going to say, yeah, sure, that was like a week ago. But yeah, you can ask the personal representative. When you call the attorney, I would just say, listen, here's what I wrote into the listing agreement to make sure we get clean offers and to make sure that the buyer and their agent are aware that we need court approval. Do you agree with this language, or would you like to make any suggestions? Is there anything that you would like to see from me more than I've already done? And the answer is most likely going to be no, because I doubt anyone else has ever been that proactive for the attorney. So they're going to be impressed that you're already thinking 2-3 steps ahead of where most agents would be.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And don't ever be afraid to err on the side of being proactive. I mean, if you're actually talking to the executor and you listed a few days before he has the letters, you're not doing anything illegal. It's the intent. The intent is you're speaking and dealing with the person in charge. When in doubt, get it listed. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to have a problem doing that.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that either. That's what I was like, well, I need to make sure I'm not doing anything out of line with what we're allowed to do. And, okay, so is it letters of testament or letters of testamentary? Because I want to write this in my notes.
Letters of testamentary. And
okay.
You've got all of this. If you go back and listen to session 1 of Probate Mastery, all of this is covered.
Okay.
So the recording from, I guess it's been like 2 weeks ago, but find that Probate Mastery recap session 1 and listen to that 40-minute session.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Excellent. We have 3 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 9900. You're up next.
Hey, it's Robert. I saw you guys at Triple Play here in Atlantic City. I've come
Yes,
back
sir.
to all the Leeds family after a 6-month hiatus, and the only thing that's bothering me is how much of my competitors bought and how much opportunity I have lost. But I wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you about attorneys. If you are still using ISAs to reach out to attorneys, or if you feel it's better that our subscribers themselves reach out to the attorneys. What are your thoughts as to getting traction with attorney appointments to build relationships?
So we do offer it from our ISAs. However, you're gonna cover way more ground and especially for you, like I know you and your personality type and your I don't know if aggressive nature, you're tenacious, right? So what's going to be far more effective is getting in your car at a certain, just pick a block of time each week, get in your car and go meet these people. And that's far more effective, and you create, deeper relationships faster that way. So if you're not getting it done, that's why the ISA call service is there. Like if you're just simply not going to do it, or you don't have the time, the bandwidth to do it, then we've got your back. But we would rather see you get out and meet people in your community.
So first priority is, I should do it in person. Second priority, I should call. And third, if it's not going to get done at all, then have your ISAs do it. Something's better than nothing.
Right.
Got it.
And unfortunately, as bad as I hate to admit it, most people never get comfortable enough to go try it, or they always find something else that it doesn't get done. So if you feel like you're in that position, go ahead and order the campaign, and we'll get it done for you. But ideally, we'd like you to, develop a referral system where you go out, and if you probably weren't on the role play call yesterday because I saw you 5 minutes before it, but listen to that role play call from yesterday. Sam Bingham she's an ISA, but she operates at a really high level, and she's in Central Virginia. And we discussed for the second time, we talked about it first on last week's Mastermind and then yesterday on the role play. Probate attorneys aren't even common in our markets, but she went and made a list of her own of family law attorneys and visited them and had great success, and she's gone back out. So, I mean, that's the the most productive way is to get out and meet them face to face. But certainly, if it's not getting done, you should be ordering the call campaigns.
And that's what.
And
that's
Rob,
what
we do have a couple trifold brochures on our website too that you can download or we'll print out and ship to you that are kind of designed to impress the attorneys. I know one of our callers maybe 4 or 5 months ago took a stack of these brochures and couldn't get in to see the attorney, left them with the paralegal, and then a week later they called and said, "Hey, we're out of brochures. Can you bring more?" So this time he went back with a brochure holder and another big stack of them and got in to see the attorney. So bring something of value, like that they can put in the hands of their clients when they talk to them.
Good advice. Builds a little credibility as well. If I'm showing up with something in my hand. Okay. Very good.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Are you doing anything? Is the retargeting or the lead follow anything that's appropriate for discussion here?
Sure.
So I noticed after logging into the lead follow that it gives me the opportunity of selecting attorneys as being targeted. Is that intentional?
It is. So this is a test, and like I told you yesterday, that's not a public order form. So we're first starting on, we're systematizing it so we can do digital marketing to the personal representative. Next, we'll look at attorneys, but right now we're not running campaigns to attorneys. We're a step ahead with the order form.
Sorry if I'm jumping ahead. Forgive me. Thank you.
No worries. A good question.
No, that's fine. Excellent. Welcome back, Rob. You're definitely an asset to our company, and it was a pleasure meeting you and spending so much time with you out there.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think you're doing a great job. I look
All right.
forward to more things in the future.
Thank you, sir. Next up is phone number ending in 0682. You're up next.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the call. My name is Calvin. I'm a real estate broker from Miami. I just had a question about the leads. So how far back do you go? I hope this question makes sense. How far back do the probate cases go? Like is it by record date or is it by the insert date with the court? I don't know if my question is making sense, but I'm just wondering how far back you're going. Like if we say we buy the leads for December, is it for cases that are filed in December, or how does that work?
It's the last 30 days. So every county almost has a different delivery date. So assuming November 15th was the last time we released leads from Miami-Dade. I'm just pulling an arbitrary date. Then you would get, within a few days range, you would get them in December on the same date. And what you're getting is the last 30 days since the last pull, which was 30 days ago. You're getting every single lead that's been recorded over that 30-day period.
Okay.
So if you got it on December 15th, then on January 15th, you would get all the leads from December 15th to January 15th. So depending on when we got our first customer, we made our first order in that market, it could have been on the 4th of the month or it could have been on the 19th. But it's always tends to be around that same day. Every 30 days is when you'll see your leads. In some counties, we do biweekly if there's an additional charge because we have to send a researcher more than once. But you can expect like the typical delivery is every 30 days, and you're getting every lead for that period since your last file.
Okay, so for Broward, so it is by county. It's not by zip code or city. It's by county.
Right. Yeah, this information's all recorded in the county clerk's office, so we track everything at the county level.
All right, and then do you recommend going back? Like, is it an option to go and buy older leads from previous months, or do you not really recommend doing that?
No, we certainly do, and I don't know, Jim can answer this better, but I would say 30 to 40% of folks who sign up, when they sign up, they go for historical data. What we find, ton of stories and experience, but a lot of people will end up taking as much as 2 years to actually close the probate. So the ones who were just really hurt or just where procrastination was strong in their nature, those are the ones that the longer it goes on, the more motivated they become, and then one day they finally break through and they're like, come list this house, just bring me paperwork. And it's really common, like after you've done this for 6 months or so, you'll start to get those come list me calls. And they'll kind of blindside you because you're thinking, well, this is off my December list. And then you find out it was from your July list. But that's one of the biggest reasons we recommend the specific mail piece that we use. It's a greeting card envelope with a hand address and a live first-class stamp. And that mail tends to stick around. So people will put that up, put it in a safe place where with a business class, a lot of times those get tossed. So it's not uncommon to get listings 12, 15, 20 months from the actual date of death. So there is a lot of value in that. You just kind of have to decide how far back you want to go. I mean, if you buy a list that's 2 years old, there's going to be less opportunity left than if it's a list that's 6 months old. So you can, go back. I mean, some folks go back 6 months on their very first campaign. Just be careful you don't overwhelm yourself. That's one of the things that we see. A lot of folks get really excited. They jump in, buy 6-7 months worth of leads before their new list shows up, and then they just have so much work. They kind of for the lack of a better term, they freak themselves out, and they're like, I can't handle this. So just buy what you can handle within reason.
All right.
Yeah, those historical leads are considerably cheaper. And I happen to be in Broward County. I'll just tell you a real quick story. The last time we had a hurricane here, I had nothing else to do, so I didn't want to compete with any of my existing subscribers, so I went in and I called 1 to 2 year old leads just looking to buy and flip something, and I had 6 people that said, out of a few hundred that said, yeah, it the family fought. It took a year to settle the estate, or we just couldn't bring ourselves to go through mom and dad's stuff. And they all said that a year ago they were getting a lot of letters, but nobody had contacted them in the last 6 to 9 months. So the nice thing about going back on those, maybe 70, 80, 90% of them are going to be sold, but the ones that haven't are now ready to do something, and you've got absolutely no competition. So it for the cost, and if you have the bandwidth, like Chad said, to work them, it's a great source of leads. But if you have a limited bandwidth, you're definitely going to have a higher conversion rate on the newer ones. Make sense? You still there, Chad?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I guess we lost him. I wanted to make sure everybody could hear me. All right, well, next up is phone number ending in, was that 7671? You're up next.
Hi, it's Barbara from Florida.
Hey, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara. Another Floridian. This is Florida Day.
I just wanted to make a comment. I'm in Hernando County, and for some reason it's taking them 90 days for them to get the authorization to sell. And I haven't run into any problems, and I think the lady that called, as long as she asks for the documentation that shows they're able to list, she shouldn't run into any problems. But I personally have been finding that they're not getting the authorization so quick, and that's part of my issue. I have people that I'm still talking to from August and September, and they're not at a point that they even have the paperwork in hand. So I don't know if that's, a recent development or what, but I just thought I'd mention that. And
Barbara, you're just in a more laid back part of Florida. You're not in the high paced, South Florida. The panhandle up there is just a little bit more laid back. I think that might be one of the issues. Chad, you had a comment too?
Yeah, I mean, that's the first I've heard from Florida for sure. We have heard that from a couple of counties in California. So as with any challenge, I try to look at it as how do I use this to my advantage. Barbara, one of the things you might consider is figuring out, like, what are 10 things that they can proactively do even before they have the letters, before they have the authority to sell anything. What are 10 things they can do? And this will be a good thing to sit down with a probate attorney and say, well, can we clean out the house? Can we have an estate sale? Can we distribute personal property? And I'm not 100% clear on that. I would definitely want to bounce it off of a probate attorney, but in Florida. But think about, if you change your letter to say, we know the courthouse is backed up, but here are 10 things that we do for our clients while they're waiting for their letters of testamentary. So then you stand out above the crowd, because everybody else is barking, we buy houses, we list houses, and you're saying we actually help people prepare, and we take advantage of the backlog that the county is unfortunately providing for all of us. And use it to your advantage as a marketing, hook. And I think you'll probably get a lot of phone calls, because they, chances are they're as frustrated about it as you are. So put a positive spin on it and say, here are 10 things that we help all of our clients do to make sure that they're not just sitting on their hands during this 90-day backlog thanks to the county. And maybe don't throw the county under the bus like that, but highlight that they don't have to sit there being unproductive. There are things that we can do, and by the way, our team can handle it all. You don't really have to do anything.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are having estate sales and so forth. But what I have been running into, and I've been doing okay sometimes, they say, well, my attorney has it all handled. And I have to interject and say, well, your attorney has all the legal aspects handled, but what about this and what about that? And finally they come clean. They just want to get you off the phone And
Sure.
finally, they come clean and say, well, no, we didn't get our letters yet, and if and when we're ready, so I have to keep on calling and following up. I have a few that said, one, he just had vacant land, and he said, I'll absolutely list with you, and I called twice, and he just disappeared into the dust. And I have one that I lost that was having an estate sale. I was going to go down there like you suggested, and I sent a card. I sent a Thanksgiving card, and all of a sudden I see that she's listed with someone else. So, of course, I was very good.
And something I failed to mention so Barbara, one of the other things I'd like you to at least sit down with your broker. Are you the broker or do you have a broker?
I have a broker.
So I'd like for you to sit down with your broker and come up with a letter of intent to sign an exclusive right to represent, or a letter of intent to list, a loyal. That could be it, your loyal program, LOIL. So the reason you lost those is those people made a verbal commitment to you on the phone that didn't really stick in their brain, and when the other guy called, he used his good sales skills to get the listing, right?
Well,
what if in that scenario you found a reason to get face to face with the seller, you built rapport, and then you ask them to just, since you don't have the authority right now, just as a first step, what we can do is, so I can go ahead and get started working on my part of it, let's just sign this letter of intent to list, and then that way my broker is happy to let me go ahead and do the things that we talked about as far as getting it ready for sale. And getting that signature on a form, I mean, we know a letter of intent is not a legally enforceable contract. However, you get the same psychological impact that you do from signing a listing agreement or a purchase agreement, usually. So unless they're a really seasoned business person that has done a lot with LOIs, then they realize it's just the paper it's written on is about the value. But what you're looking for is that psychological commitment. Even though they're not ready for the lead, they're not in a position to sign a legal document, they can still sign a letter of intent to do anything, right? So sit down with your broker and have that conversation and say, here's what I would like to do and here's why. There's a 90-day backlog in the court. I'm getting verbal commitments, but then competitors are beating me before I can follow up with the customer. So I just want to lock in our relationship in some way. Are you comfortable with this, with this form? And I think your broker's going to be like, wow, that's really creative, and yes, let's sit down and write it right now, because it's just going to get more listings for the firm. So I think that could be something else that could give you an edge, since you're kind of at a disadvantage of having to wait 90 days longer than most of us. But have that conversation and see if your broker agrees, and if so, then take it, start doing that. Get an LOI from everybody that you can.
Yeah, well, in this particular instance, there was a different person. I didn't even get to meet with her. I was going to go to her estate sale, and before I could get to her estate sale, it was listed. So I didn't even get to meet her. But the other one I never met, but I can see the value of that if I do get into that situation. But a lot of them are very resistant. Well, I'm not doing anything now. I'm not signing anything now, and so forth. So, but that is very good.
So that's going to be a common reaction, and that's why I always encourage everybody, continue asking questions. And just think about the goal. Every time you pick up the phone, your goal is a face-to-face appointment, right? So even if they're not ready to sign a listing agreement, they're not ready to choose a realtor, they're not ready to X, Y, or Z, your objective should still be the same. Get in front of this person, because once you do, you don't have any competition. You're gonna blow their socks off with, like, no one else is going to be offering a full service like you are. So even if that's to go buy say, I need a new vase for my kitchen. Do you have any vases at the estate sale? Great. I'll be there at 8 when it opens. like however you can get in front of them to really show them who you are and what your service is. Anyone else who comes in behind you, they're going to remember, oh my gosh, Barbara does all these other things and doesn't charge me any more money. Why wouldn't we list with her? And so it's just going to make your competition less effective if you can get in front of them for really any reason, is what we find. So they're, they're stressed out, they're uncomfortable, they want to be left the hell alone. However, it won't bother, because they don't see value in everyone else's offer. That's why you're getting that reaction. Whoever they've spoken to before didn't offer real value to them. They didn't perceive it that way. Asking more questions lets you keep them on the phone longer to give them a chance to actually understand the value that you're offering. So just find any reason you can to get in front of any of them, even if they're not ready to list.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Thank you much, Barbara. We have 3 more in the queue, but thanks as always for participating, and let us know when you get one of those. I know you will. You're working them, and that's the key. So thanks for sharing. Next up is phone number 9139. You're up next.
I'm here. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Fine. Who is this?
Richard Rue from Orange County, California.
Yes, sir. Hey, Richard. Welcome back.
3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah. Talked a couple weeks ago. So I was just going to say I really like that idea of a letter of intent. And when the lady was talking, both of them from Florida, one of the things that I've incorporated on a regular, ongoing basis is whenever I go to take a listing, first I go with the intent to any of these meetings that I'm going to try to get something signed, sealed, and delivered that day if possible.
Yes.
And then secondly is to, like in California, if we take a listing, we're required by listing guidelines to put it into the MLS within 48 or 72 hours. But there's also a form which says that the homeowner has authorized you to delay putting it in the MLS. So one of the things I take with every single listing now is that form and have the seller sign it. Yep. Thus, if somebody says, well, we can't do this right now or whatever, I still have a listing and I say, that's not a problem. That's what we got this form for. We can do it at whatever time frame you want it to. But in the meantime, I have a commitment from you now, and I can start spending money and doing all the things I want so we can sell your home at the highest dollar amount, the quickest possible way, and make sure that we can get it sold quickly when you're ready to put it on the market. So that's why I like that letter of intent idea. That was a good idea. But I thought I'd also throw that out. I don't know if other states have something along the same line as that form that we have in California. But I have found that to be a very good form to use for everything, every listing I take.
Yeah, very good point. So it's actually in the Virginia listing agreement. It's actually part of the listing agreement language. So we have like an MLS opt-out that the seller can initial, and I've used that several times. So I wanted to just to add on to what you're saying. The way that I work back to that point and get that agreement signed easily is start with a target date. So when you're starting your appointment, you need to establish a target date. And I usually make this kind of really casual, and I'm like, oh, in a perfect world, and I'll say, if this blue pen were a magic wand, what day would we be depositing the check in the estate's bank account? Oh, I don't know, maybe February 1st? Oh, okay. Well, in that case, we've got to it needs to be under contract by this date, and it should be on MLS by this date, which means we need photography by this date, and just back your way through all of the services you're going to provide, and just say, and right here, this will allow us to keep it off of MLS while we're getting it ready for the market, and the last thing left to do is for you to sign right there, and you don't ask for the listing. You just use the target date to work your way back through that timeline, and then slide whatever you need them to sign in front of them, and they sign every damn time. But tie that target date and all those points along the timeline right back to that document and say, we're going to go on MLS on this date, so initial here, saying that you understand it won't be uploaded today. And then the listing date, the effective date of the listing is today, but the MLS upload date is next week. And that's so we have time to get photographers and home stagers and clean out crews and whoever in here. But that's something that might help you too, is go all the way out to the closing date and then work your way back to that document and explain to them why they're signing it. And that's been, I teach this in Mastery. Like, I play a game. I've never had to ask for a listing in my career. And I've used little tricks like that to try to get back, because I don't like asking for business. I like to earn business. And that's one of the ways that's really streamlined my whole presentation.
Yeah, I think that another thing too, I was listening to something yesterday about neuro-linguistic, whatever that's called. I can't think of the rest of it.
NLP.
But,
NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Yep.
Right. Every statement you just made in there was neuro-linguistic in nature, because you were saying to them the assumption that they were going to do what you wanted them to do.
Sure, and that's something else it's kind of hidden in Mastery. I do stop and point it out every once in a while. When I learned all this stuff, it was before I even knew what NLP was. And then I learned about NLP, and I'm like, oh. And I pretty much learned it waiting tables and selling resort real estate. But there's little cues. Like, when I walk up to the house the very first time, I've already spoken to somebody on the phone, typically the personal representative, and they trust me. When I close out my phone call, I ask them to go ahead, and I basically give them permission to sell me to the other people and recap the conversation. So when I walk up, there's usually 2, 3, 4 people. I'll hold one single business card at an equal distance from all of them and pay attention to who grabs the business card. Because if it's not the personal representative that you set the appointment with, subconsciously they're saying, I'll take that. I have the authority here. So it could be that person's spouse. It could be an older sibling that's pissed off that they're not the personal representative. But whoever's doing that is usually saying, I've got the authority here, and there's one card, I'm taking it. But pay attention, because that's the person you have to build rapport with now. Even if you had great rapport on the phone, now you got to focus on that person, because 10 minutes from now, they're going to affect the decision that's made or not made. So there's a lot of little things like that. That's just one example. And I assume from the first time that someone picks up the phone, I speak like I'm already the agent, or I'm already, buying that house, depending on what I feel, which direction I feel like it's going. But I use those assumptive closes throughout the relationship, from the first couple of minutes all the way through till I do the listing recap. I'm doing little things like that all the way through. And we cover a lot of that in session 3 of Mastery.
That's great. Thanks, guys.
Excellent.
I always get a good idea whenever I get a chance to listen in.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back. Richard, you've been ultra successful, and it's obvious why. And we appreciate you coming back every week. Thank you.
Thanks for all.
Next up is, we have 2 more in the queue, and that should take us right up on the hour. Phone number ending in 0682. You're up next.
Yeah, hey guys, this is Calvin. For some reason, our call got dropped when I was asking my questions, and I think Jim was saying, basically I heard up to the point where you said, you can go back up to 6 months or longer, but you don't recommend starting out that far back because you can just get, kind of inundated with leads. And then I missed what Jim said, but I think you basically answered my question. You start with 1 month, and then you can go back kind of retroactive.
Yeah, what I had said is, it really depends on your bandwidth. If you're a single agent and you're going to be struggling just to make the calls for this month's leads, focus on this month's leads, because nearly 100% of them haven't done anything yet. But if you got a team and you got an ISA and you got plenty of manpower, those older leads can be, percentage-wise, you're not going to have as high of a conversion rate. But the ones you talk to, you're going to have zero competition. And if it's been 6 months to a year and they haven't done anything yet, there was probably a reason, and they're probably now a lot closer to making a decision. So it really, a lot depends on your bandwidth. But in any case, anybody listening, we can almost always get you, especially if it's a market where we've been active for a long time, we can almost always get you older leads at a substantial discount, much less than you're paying for your current leads. So, proportionally, you may not convert as many, but cost-wise, it can be very effective. And if you want us to check, just send an email to support@alltheleads. And I know all of South Florida, I mean, we've got the leads going back years. So, you know, I wouldn't go back years, but, you know, 6 to 9 to 12 months back, if you have the bandwidth, they can be very productive. So, we're in a competitive market. We're in a competitive market down here, Calvin. So even if a lot of people aren't calling them, as soon as that probate hits the courts, they're getting dozens of letters from the We Buy House investors. So, you know, sometimes initially your letter can get lost in the pile. You know, we have awesome letters that do stand out, but, you know, a letter and a call 6 months later is going to stand out even, you know, more if they haven't done anything than initially, because you're going to have much less competition down the road.
That's interesting. Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Jim, and that answers my question. So thanks, guys. I'm planning on taking that class you have coming up in a couple of weeks, too. I think that will fill in a lot of the, you know, blanks I have. So, but I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Calvin. All right. Last up this week is phone number ending in 6888. You're up last.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, I just kind of got in here. I appreciate all that you guys put forth as far as your information. It's really incredible. I'm actually really new to this space. I had a really specific question. I'll be brief. Just regarding California, and so I heard I think it was a recording of a webinar I saw on YouTube actually. It just mentioned some sort of added complexity as far as the process and overbidding and things like that. So I'm kind of new to the space, and it'd be from the investor side, not an agent. So I just wondered, is it worth it to get into, or is there kind of too many sort of things to worry about with California?
No, there are thousands of successful investors in California, and it's competitive everywhere you go, right? And probate and foreclosure and anything. So don't feel like you can't compete. Just be aware of, so what's going to happen in California, you can meet with the personal representative, sign a purchase agreement. If they haven't petitioned the court for full authority, which I would say 40 to 50% at least have not, then they have to take the contract back to the court, and that's when the overbid process starts. So they basically they essentially open a public bid for a 10% premium of above what your offer is. If you're making strong offers, you may not ever get overbid because people might not be willing to go another 10%. So like if you're using a formula that most other investors are, let's say you offered $70,000 on a $100,000 valuation, then another investor is probably going to be unwilling to pay a 10% premium because it squeezes the profit out of the deal. So you may go through the overbid process, nobody bids, they approve your sale, and you move forward. And a lot of investors buy probate homes, so that's kind of the most likely scenario is people, they'll go find another deal rather than overpay 10%. So unless you're competing with an end buyer in a courtroom in an overbid process, which is unlikely, it's unlikely that most residents are going to be that savvy to attract this process and show up and overbid. They think you can only buy a home through a realtor, right?
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged like a lot of people do it, and it's just like anything. It's take action, get out there, and you'll have opportunities.
Okay, awesome. And then just one real quick question, if at all possible, is there any source of kind of specific detailed information? Like, because what you've explained is incredible. I mean, that's super, super helpful. But is there anywhere to find like sort of more just like very detailed sort of process?
So go to the Googs and type in California probate code, and you'll have about three hours of reading in front of you. California and Florida both publish their entire code, and I've actually read the entire California code because we kept getting so many questions. So that's one place, like you can kind of lay down your base of knowledge there, and if you, while you're reading that, just jot down any specific questions you have that weren't clear in the legal language. And you can call the probate clerk. The lady who opened the call, she didn't have a really helpful person in Florida, but in California, I've gotten the cold shoulder from the clerk office workers, but they won't answer any questions. They transfer you to another office that's also in the courthouse, and I can't think of the name of it. but there's basically people with a law degree that aren't really practicing law, but they're there to answer questions from the public. And I don't remember what the job title of that person was, but like the last time I did it in California was in Santa Clara County. Up north.
That's right. Yeah, I'm right there.
Okay. So there's a person in that courthouse. I went through like a receptionist, then the probate clerk, then that person that had a law degree, and it took us 15 minutes total. And I had one of our subscribers on the line, and it took us 15 minutes to completely exhaust all of her questions. And I kind of did it just to prove my point that anyone can get this information if you just use your head and be friendly. These people are public servants. They're there to help you. They're there to answer questions. And when they realize you're acting in the best interest of the public, they should be more than willing to spend whatever time that you need, to get your questions answered.
Sure, definitely. Well, that's super helpful. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Great call, as always, guys. And we're finishing on time, which is rare. I really want to end this call the way I end everyone. I want to thank everybody for taking an hour out of your week to be here. Particularly thank those who were willing to participate, ask questions, share ideas. And I always end the same way. I want to challenge each and every one of you that was here today. Take one idea, one thought, one thing that inspired you on this call. Go out and put it into practice and come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you. You have a great week, and we'll talk to you same time next Thursday.